Hey, thank you guys so much for being here with me today and for signing up for my exclusive VIP email list. Since you signed up for the exclusive VIP email list, you have the opportunity to get this free webinar on sexual health. And I'm pretty excited because I'm going to share some great information for you. By being on that VIP email list, you're also going to get exclusive access to health tips, a private Facebook group that is just for you all. You guys will know about events before everyone else. You guys will get weekly emails, and you also will have exclusive access to promotions before the general public. So thank you for being here with me. I'm pretty excited about this webinar that you guys are going to be a part of today. So let's go ahead and get started, okay? So today's webinar is about sexual health. We're going to talk about herbs and natural treatments for sexual health. I want to make this disclaimer to get started. This presentation is meant for educational purposes only. Just because we're having this conversation now, we're not establishing a patient-doctor relationship. This is not medical advice, and this is not me giving you a specific treatment plan for your life. Please consult with your physician before you start any new regimens. Consult with me. Come make an appointment with me. We can build that patient-doctor relationship, and we can go over specifics that would be pertinent to your health. Remember, everyone's an individual, so I'm giving general tips, but some things may not be the best for you, or some things may be amazing for you, but we want to go ahead and have a relationship where we can establish that. So again, this is for informational purposes only, but it's going to be some great information. If I mention any products during this presentation or webinar, I'm not associated with any other companies, just me and Agape Health and Wellness Center. So I'm not getting compensated for mentioning any products in this presentation. And I just thought you guys should know that because it's not for money for me. It's just for education and me sharing with you what works. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about sexual health. What is it? We're going to talk about common causes of sexual dysfunction. And we're also going to talk about some natural treatment options that you can use for sexual health. So sexual health. I mention sexual health all the time. I consider myself a sex doctor. I am the sex doctor, right? So what does sexual health actually pertain to? So anything associated with sex is going to be part of your sexual health. It's also connected to full body health and wellness, which is why I love sexual health. You can come to me and be like, Dr. Richardson, I'm having vaginal dryness. I'm having low libido. And this is giving me the opportunity to look into your full health history. So we're still looking at your cardiovascular system. We're still looking at your respiratory system. We're looking at any metabolic disorders you have. So sexual health, even though it may pertain to immediately you're looking at it as it pertains to your sex, it's not just about sex. And so that's why I love sexual health, because I can still work with you full body, and not just full body physically, because you guys know I'm here to motivate and empower you to be the best version of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. I'm also able to look at your mental and emotional health when we deal with sexual health. So sexual dysfunction. What is sexual dysfunction? So sexual dysfunction is when things stop operating optimally sexually. So not just stops completely, it could just be it's not operating the way you're used to, it's not up to par anymore, some things have changed. And so this is going to be called sexual dysfunction. And so sexual dysfunction is usually what drives you to the doctor, right? You're like, things aren't working correctly. I need you to help fix it. And so sexual dysfunction is kind of what brings you into the office. So for sexual dysfunction, we could have decreased libido. And so, can I move myself? Yeah, let's move myself over here, guys, so you guys can see all the slide. So decreased libido, you're going to have a decreased desire for sex. And so this is when you just don't have that feeling like, I don't want to have sex right now. I don't want to have sex. And it's not like just a right now, like a one-day thing. This is over a prolonged period of time. So if your sex drive used to be you want to have sex 4 days a week, and now all of a sudden you barely want to have sex 1 day a week, that's a decreased libido. Your sex drive has changed. Some of that decrease is natural, but when it's a significant decrease, like you go from 4 days a week to once every 2 weeks, that's a concern. Or just even once a week, that can be a concern because you know yourself. So that's decreased libido. We have erectile dysfunction. So erectile dysfunction is the inability to have or maintain an erection. So you can't get an erection, or you have an erection and it's not as strong of an erection as you're used to, or you can't maintain it. So you have an erection and then it goes away and you can't function properly through that erection. So that's erectile dysfunction. Ladies, we can have what's called decreased lubrication, which would kind of be our equivalent to erectile dysfunction, where we're having vaginal dryness. We're not having that lubrication that we have. We don't have that WAP anymore, ladies, and that's concerning. And vaginal dryness can cause pain when you have sex. And so we want to make sure that we're having proper lubrication. So these are just some of the more common sexual dysfunction things that I see in the office and that people come to me for. So what are some of the common causes of sexual dysfunction? Looking at the physical side, diabetes. Diabetes, people don't realize it. So when you have high blood sugar, there's a few things that happen. That glucose is now glycolating your immune cells, and so it slows those immune cells down. Now they can't respond and move properly. So now you have a decreased immune system. Also, by having that high blood glucose, it starts to attack and destroy microvessels within the body. So now the blood flow is being compromised, and that is why you don't get blood flow sometimes when you don't have feeling into your extremities because that blood flow is being compromised. But that also means blood flow is being compromised to those vessels that are going into our genital region. So now it's one of the top physical causes of erectile dysfunction is diabetes. You're not getting that blood flow, fellas, so you can't get it up. Ladies, you're not getting that blood flow anymore. So now you have vaginal dryness. It also affects your mood, and now your libido's decrease. So diabetes is a big common cause of sexual dysfunction. High blood pressure as well. Again, we want to have blood flow. If we don't have blood flow, we can't get things operating and moving and operating. So high blood pressure is going to affect our vessels as well, and it's also going to affect blood flow and circulation. So high blood pressure is another cause. High cholesterol. Cholesterol kind of shuts off circulation again, so it's a circulation thing. Hormone imbalances. Your hormones kind of keep your body operating and tell your body what to do. So when they start getting imbalanced and whack and they're deficient and we don't have enough, you're going to start seeing a lot of changes in our sexual health and sexual function. And so those are just some of the things that physically that can cause sexual dysfunction. Let's look at the mental and emotional side. Lack of safety for men and for women. A lack of safety is going to, if you don't feel safe in your environment, in your relationship with your partner, you aren't going to be able to function properly. Ladies specifically, because I deal with you a lot, and we talk about the lack of anorgasmia, the lack of or the inability to have an orgasm. A lot of that sometimes comes when you're in a relationship or you're paired with someone and you don't feel completely safe, physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's not just a physical safety. They won't hurt you, but you don't feel secure in that relationship. They haven't affirmed you in that relationship. And this is for men and women. Men need to be affirmed and feel wanted and loved and feel like safe. They need to know that they're in a relationship where they're not being judged. They're not going to be talked about. You're not going to throw things in their face later on. All of these things affect our ability to want to have sex, our desire to have sex, and how we function. So if we don't have that safety and that comfort in our relationship, you're going to see some sexual dysfunction. Going right along that same line, unresolved traumas. Unresolved traumas. Ladies, 3 in 4 women have been involved in some kind of sexual or physical abuse in a domestic situation. That's 75% that have reported it. So it's probably even higher. So a lot of us women have experienced some kind of abuse in our past, and we don't usually deal with that. Fellas, something that goes untalked about in our communities, which needs to be spoken of more, is the amount of abuse sexually that our little fellas go through, that young men go through, from the hands of women and men that they are close to, that are part of their families, that are friends of the family, that are aunts and uncles, cousins. And so these are all examples of traumas. And if we have not properly resolved those traumas and healed through those traumas, they stop us, not just in our sexual life, but these are things that are stopping you from just being the best version of you overall. So you have to deal with those traumas. You have to address them head on. It's not going to be easy and it's going to hurt, but you have to heal and go through the healing process of these traumas because they are literally roadblocks to your destiny. And so you have to heal through these traumas. And so having unresolved traumas keeps you from being your best self physically, mentally, emotionally. And when we're talking about sexual health, it keeps you from being able to give your all sexually and be able to experience everything that you desire. You can't experience pleasure at its fullest when you're still holding on to unresolved traumas because it's a wall. So we want to make sure we're not experiencing these unresolved traumas. Another big one, stress. And we're going to get into stress because stress is my thing. I like to talk about it. Stress is definitely going to affect your sexual dysfunction. Stress can cause a plethora of different problems, but stress is going to be one of those things that we're going to talk about because stress is going to help mess with your hormones, it can balance your hormones, it can mess with your sleep cycles, it's going to mess with your desire, your libido, your ability to orgasm, your ability to get and maintain an erection. Everything that we talked about sexual dysfunction, it can be caused by stress. So let's talk about stress. So when you're under stress, your body goes through what's called your fight or flight mode or your sympathetic nervous system. So your fight or flight mode is going to be that time where your body is responding in a way that it's got to fight the danger or run from the danger. So that's more so something that we've evolved from. Because back in the day, remember, dangerous and stress was like a bear coming to attack the house, or you're out hunting. And so you had to have the ability to be able to run or fight that. Nowadays, stress comes in a lot different forms. Stress is more mental and emotional, but our body hasn't evolved to the point where it doesn't realize we don't need all those stress hormones to respond to mental and emotional stress. So therefore, when we're stressed, our body still responds like we have to run or fight. And so what happens is this is just a picture for you guys, and you guys can go through. It shows you some of the things that happens when you're in sympathetic mode. But what doesn't happen are the things that happen in parasympathetic mode. And this is when you're relaxed. This is when you have proper blood flow through your whole body, not just to your muscles. You now aren't going to have an excess of glucose production. When you're in stress mode, your body's producing more glucose because it thinks you need to fight or flight, right? Fight or run. And you need that energy, so it's producing more glucose. So this could be affecting your blood sugar levels. You're trying to get your blood sugar levels down and you've been doing everything correct. But for some reason, you can't get your blood sugar down. You're under high stress probably. We've got to deal with that stress. And when you're stressed, you are definitely not in a position for sex because your body isn't desiring those things because at this moment it needs to find safety. So we want to make sure we're going from sympathetic to parasympathetic. So this is something that I address with all my clients. Let me take a moment now to specifically speak to my African American community. I speak to you specifically as a member, but also because I know this is something that doesn't get addressed. We've been under chronic stress most of our lives. We're born into stressful situations that other people can't understand. And so therefore, we're more susceptible to diseases that our counterparts aren't as susceptible to, and we may develop them easier or younger. And this can include diabetes, hypertension. Yes, those are lifestyle diseases, and we can fix our lifestyle and our diet, we can fix it. But also, you're more susceptible because of stress. We're more susceptible to have infant mortality or lose our babies in pregnancy loss than our counterparts because of this high stress. So there's a lot of things that happen to us because we're under chronic stress that needs to be addressed. So if you have not, you need to find a practitioner who's going to address how to manage your stress and how to help you recover. And we are going to talk about that a little bit here, but make sure that you find a practitioner who can help you with that further. So the adrenals. Your adrenals are how you respond to stress. How you respond to stress. So with your adrenals, they are these little organs. If you look on this slide, these are the little gold organs. So they sit right on top of your kidneys, very tiny organs, but they are what secretes your stress hormones into your body. So you're going to get excess cortisol or adrenaline, which is your norepinephrine and epinephrine, are produced here in these adrenals. When you're under stress, you have increased cortisol production flooding your body all the time. So your body's being flooded with stress production, with stress hormones. Over time, your adrenals can become fatigued, because it's not necessarily the medical term, but they become fatigued. And so you hear these people talking about adrenal fatigue. What are some of the things that happen once you get into adrenal fatigue? Because your adrenals have been responding for such long periods to stress. Your circadian rhythm gets jacked up. So now you're not able to fall asleep at night, or you can fall asleep, but you wake up in the middle of the night, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready for the day. It's 2 or 3 in the morning, have trouble going back to sleep. You wake up in the morning, you slept through the night, but you have zero energy. Your energy levels are just overall down. That's signs of adrenal fatigue. Your hormones are imbalanced, so now you're having sexual dysfunction. You're moody. You may have joint pain. Your metabolism slows down, so now you're gaining weight, and a lot of that stress weight is going to be your midsection. So now you've got a bigger gut than you usually have, and no matter what you do, you're having trouble losing this weight. It's probably because of stress and the hormone balances because of stress. You also have memory problems. We also talk about brain fog. You have problems with word recall. All of these things are because of excess stress. So let's talk about some of the hormone imbalances. So your adrenals, your thyroid, and your sex organs are connected. Not like really connected, they're like invisible strings that connect these three organs. I call it the little triangle. So there's like the triangle of balance in our body. And so what happens is these three organs work in sync to manage how our body is operating physiologically and how we're responding to situations, our metabolism, our sex drive, all of that is connected. So if anything happens to one of them, another one is going to work to try to maintain the balance, and eventually that can be stress, or they all kind of go out of whack because one is out of whack. They're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? They're like triplets, and they feel each other. And if things are out of whack, one's out of whack, they're all out of whack. So then you start seeing other things that happen. Now all of a sudden you have a thyroid condition that you've never had. And this is also why ladies, when you're going through menopause, fellas, while you're going through andropause, you see some health conditions pop up and you're like, nothing has changed in my lifestyle. Why are this happening? It's because now your sex hormones are producing less hormones, your sex organs are producing less hormones, and so now the rest of your body is going out of whack. And so that's why you develop a thyroid condition where you can be hypothyroid. And this can be because of menopause. This can definitely be because of stress. Hypothyroid. You also see now you could have more estrogen dominance. And it doesn't mean that you're producing a lot of estrogen, but it could be you're not producing enough progesterone and now your estrogen levels are low, but your estrogen is still higher than your progesterone, so you're estrogen dominant, or you are producing a lot of estrogen and not enough progesterone and you're estrogen dominant. Estrogen dominance leads to fibroids, PCOS, other conditions, breast tenderness, cravings. All of this is because of estrogen dominance. You have decreased testosterone. Fellas, for you, this testosterone is what gives you your energy. This is what gives you your physical strength. This is what gives women and men their sex drive. So when you don't have enough testosterone, you kind of lose that go. You lose that libido. And for fellas, testosterone is kind of the hormone that kind of gives you that feeling of, I'm a man. And so when you start feeling like, I don't feel like myself anymore, it could be just because of decreased testosterone. And that's something that we can work through and we can help. So I've given you guys a lot of background on the causes and the things that can affect sexual dysfunction. And these are just, it's not everything. This hasn't been all inclusive, but this has been a very um, thorough, a nice start. This is a good start, so to speak. So let's fix it. What are some natural treatments that are going to help our sexual dysfunction and help build our sexual health? All right, so let's start with herbal treatments. If you know me, if you've been following me, you know I love my herbs, I love my plants. So let's talk about some herbal treatments that are going to help stress and anxiety, which is overall going to help our sexual function. So let's look at the herbs and the green first, because these are my favorites. That's why they're there. All right, so Passiflora incarnata, passion flower. Passion flower is a great herb to help decrease anxiety. It helps relaxes you, so it's going to switch you from that sympathetic, that fight or flight mode, to that parasympathetic, which is our rest and digest mode. And so passion flower is going to be really good at calming you. It's also good to take at night because it quiets your mind. It doesn't, it makes you feel at ease, and so now you can fall asleep because your mind has been quieted. So passion flower is really good. Passion flower doesn't make you sleepy, so if you took it during the day, it's not going to put you to sleep, but it just calms you and relaxes your mind. So passion flower can be taken, and it's delicious. I love the flavor of passion flower, so I add it to teas. I like to buy the glycerin form of it, which is like a sweeter version of it, and it's really good. Lavender, lavandilla. Lavender is another great herb that helps calm you. It releases tension. It can release muscle tension. I have a muscle soak that I sell that you guys can purchase that's going to help release that tension. You soak in it and it's literally going to relax your muscles. But even if you're just doing the essential oils, it's going to help calm you. It's going to release some tension, stress. It helps with sleep as well. So lavender is really good. Another one that's not very common but is amazing is Melissa officinalis, which is commonly called lemon balm. Lemon balm helps decrease stress. It's calming. It has some adaptogenic effects. Adaptogens are herbs that help our body modulate stress. It helps decrease the symptoms of excess stress. So lemon balm has some of those properties, and it's also thyrosuppressive. I say that to say if you are already hypothyroid, you want to be careful with how much lemon balm you're taking because it can suppress your thyroid even more and lower your thyroid hormones even more. So you just need to be careful. And again, that brings me to a good point where I can say this. Even though things are natural and even though things are herbs and they're grown from the ground, they can be dangerous because they still affect the chemistry of your body. And so you want to make sure that you've done your research if you're going to just do this on your own. But if not, definitely consult with an herbalist or a naturopathic physician because they've studied and they know how these are going to affect the body. Of course, I prefer naturopathic physicians just because I am one. But make sure you are consulting with someone who has the knowledge and the ability to tell you how it's going to affect your body, how it's going to interact with any medications that you're already taking, how it's going to interact with other conditions that you have. Because some things may be really good for one condition, but it can stimulate your immune system and send you into a whole little loop-de-loop somewhere else. So you just need to be careful when you're using herbs. Okay, so that's my little aside. Now back to these herbs. Withania, my favorite adaptogen, commonly known as ashwagandha. It is amazing because it's an adaptogen. It's going to help decrease those effects of stress on your body, but it's also great at modulating inflammation. So it's going to help with inflammation in the body, and it gives you sexual rejuvenation. So it's one of those herbs that I can use multifaceted when I'm talking about sexual health. It's going to boost your sex drive, your libido increases. It's amazing. So ashwagandha is a great herb to use. You may notice for some people, ashwagandha can cause little headaches if you're taking it too often, things like that. So just be aware of how it affects your body. If you look on the side on the left, some other herbs that have been mentioned. Rosemary, which is called Rosmarinus officinalis. Rosemary is really good for calming you down, and rosemary is really good for helping with clarity and thoughts. And so when you're studying, it's good to have rosemary essential oils that helps you remember things because it sends a lot of oxygen and a lot of blood to the brain. So rosemary is great. Rhodiola is another adaptogenic herb, so it's going to help with stress. Eleutherococcus or ginseng. Ginseng is great for energy, it's great for sexual rejuvenation, and it's also good at just giving you a get up and go. And then gotu kola is another calming herb. It's another clarity herb. It's going to give you like mental clarity. It kind of opens up your mind almost instantly. Gotu kola is really good. And so it's really helpful for when you're under a lot of stress and anxiety. Right. And so looking specifically at sexual health, what are some herbs that can be specifically for sexual health? All right, so Damiana, and I just noticed a mistake in the PowerPoint, so we'll point that out in a moment. Damiana, she's my favorite. Damiana is an aphrodisiac. She is going to give you the desire, so she increases your libido, and this is that picture right there, Damiana. So she gives you that, and then she increases sensitivity. She's going to help increase sensitivity in your sexual region. So now you're going to have the ability to have more orgasms, okay? More orgasms. And so it helps increase your orgasms. If you're not having any mental emotional problems stopping you from orgasms, it's like you want to have it, it just won't come. This is going to help you have orgasms, ladies, and for fellas, it helps you have stronger orgasms. So it really improves the quality of orgasms. Horny goatweed. Horny goatweed increases libido. It's a phytoestrogen, meaning it gives you some estrogen properties if you're a little low on estrogen, and it's really good for erectile dysfunction. So here is the typo here. So it looks like the information for ginkgo biloba is missing. Okay, so let's talk about ginkgo biloba. Ginkgo biloba is going to be really good at helping with memory. We know it for memory, but ginkgo is really good for energy and it helps decrease anxiety. Sometimes you get performance anxiety when it comes to sex. It's going to decrease anxiety and it's going to give you some stamina. So ginkgo biloba is a great sexual health herb and it's really good. And then again, I had to mention ashwagandha again because ashwagandha is double faceted, multifaceted. It's going to help with inflammation and help with stress, but it does help with your sex drive. What are some lifestyle recommendations? One, diet. Avoid processed foods, high sugar, caffeine. These are going to slow down your immune system. They're going to make you feel foggy. They are going to dysregulate your hormones because processed foods have a lot of things added in it that can affect your hormones. So you want to make sure that you're eating whole foods. And what that means is you're eating plants, but fruits and vegetables. If you're eating your meats, you're eating fresh meats. If you can afford it, organic, grass fed. But if not, just make sure you're eating lean cuts of meat. And so the best way to go grocery shopping is to kind of stay on the outside of the grocery store. Don't go in those aisles too much. Those aisles have lots of processed foods. So you want to stay on the outside. Sugar, again, remember I told you, is going to slow down your immune system. It can increase your risk for diabetes and things like that. And caffeine, too much caffeine can do the same thing and it can dysregulate your hormones. Exercise. There's multiple reasons why I want you to exercise. One, you're just going to feel good. Exercise is going to release that oxytocin and that dopamine, serotonin, and it makes you feel good. So exercise is going to boost that mood. Two, exercise is going to help increase your libido. So by the more you exercise, you're going to realize the more that you want to have sex because now you're feeling good all around. Three, strength training, specifically when you strength train your lower body, strength training and doing weights, ladies, weights are amazing for us, especially with weight loss. Weights, if you add in weights, you'll see that your weight will start dropping even more. But strength training naturally increases testosterone levels. And so if your testosterone is low, weight training, strength training is going to boost that testosterone naturally, boosting your libido. So exercise is great. 30 minutes a day, at least 3 days a week minimum. Journaling and meditation. Why do I say that? Because if you remember earlier, we talked about some physical causes, but there's also mental and emotional causes. And we have to begin to do that process to take care of our mental health. One of the things that journaling does is it allows you to get those emotions out and they don't stay in. One of my favorite quotes by Sir William Osler is the organs cry tears the eyes never shed. Let me say that again. The organs cry tears the eyes never shed. And so what that means is that when you don't deal with your emotions and you don't process things, you are literally holding on to them and they can cause physical problems. And so you've got to get those out. You've got to deal with those emotions. Allow yourself to feel those things. Allow yourself to process them. Go through, be mad, be angry, be sad, but don't hold on to it and then move forward. And so journaling is a good way to get emotions out. Meditation is a great way to calm your mind, bring inner peace and happiness. Because once you have inner peace and happiness, no matter what crazy things are going on in the world, it can't touch the inside. And so you're balanced within, and now you can handle with a clear mind how to work through these situations. So that's important. Nature walks. Getting outside is great. One, vitamin D from the sun. Vitamin D deficiency causes depression. Vitamin D boosts your mood. Vitamin D increases your immune system strength. So vitamin D is important. So being outside is just a great thing because you can get that vitamin D naturally. Two, being in nature, and there's things called like green therapy, literally being in nature, being outside around trees, grass, in your environment. If you're here in Phoenix, going hiking in the mountains, all of these things help rejuvenate you and refresh you, and they make you feel better naturally. Also, trees are really good at transmuting energy. So if you are having a bad day and you go for a walk and you just take a few moments and stop, put your hand on a tree, take a few deep breaths in and out, and with every breath out, you're releasing all those negative thoughts and feelings, you feel better. You don't believe me? Try it and let me know how you feel. Therapy, 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 therapy. Find somebody to talk to. A therapist is an unbiased person who can listen, and a good therapist is going to equip you with the tools you need to do the work to be a better person. It's not like they just listen to you and they go, all right, bye, see you next week. They're going to actually give you books, tools, exercises, things to help you live through life and heal through life so that you can heal and become your best version of yourself. So that's what therapy is all about. Another thing you can do, ladies, yoni steams. Yoni steams are great ways to help with lubrication. It helps tonify the uterus. It just gives you overall health and wellness. And you use some of the herbs that I mentioned today, and there's a few other herbs that we can talk about in the future that are really good for yoni steams and that are great to add into your regimen. So, what did we talk about today? Because we talked about a lot. We talked about how stress can affect all aspects of your life, how you want to make sure that you take time for yourself and relax. and that we want to make healthy lifestyle changes, and there's natural remedies to help. We talked about what sexual health is. We talked about what sexual dysfunction is. We talked about some of the causes of sexual health and dysfunction and some of the ways to treat it. So I hope you guys were taking notes because I gave you guys a lot of great information. Again, if you need to email me, you can email me at agapehaw@gmail.com. My website is dorianricherson.com. I am accepting new clients. I do telehealth appointments. They're available Tuesdays through Thursday. And also, if you did not know, I am an empowerment coach. What is an empowerment coach? It's like a life coach, but I don't want you to think I'm going to fix your life because I'm not. You fix your own life. No one else can fix your life. But what I do is I partner with you and I help motivate you and I help empower you and I help to give you the tools that you need to become the best version of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. And that's why I don't call it life coaching. I call it empowerment coaching. But we do those sessions so that you can be the best version of you. And I do have packages that I offer where we can incorporate empowerment sessions with our physical doctor sessions so that you get the best of both worlds. And so if you're interested in those, make sure you go to the website. You can book free consults at the bottom of the homepage, or you can go ahead and set up your appointments on their appointment tab. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you for joining that VIP list. You're not going to regret it. You guys are going to be equipped with some great information. You guys are going to have access to things no one else has. Remember, check your emails May 1st through May 5th. We're doing our 5-day campaign where we're going to be giving you guys great information every day, but we're giving you guys exclusive and special promotions that only the people on the email list will have access to. So make sure you're checking those emails because some great things are coming. And at the end of those 5 days, there may or may not be a live webinar where you can ask questions and I can answer those questions for you. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Thank you so much for your support and thank you for being here with me. Have a great day.